it's Felicity here from Banchory Spinal Health. I am a chiropractor and clinic director of Banchory Spinal Health in Banchory, for those who don't know me already. So what a lot of people have been asking me about, especially at the moment, is top tips for working from home. So in case you're watching this in a different time, at the moment, a lot of us in the UK, pretty much most of us, are working from home because of the current outbreak of COVID-19, and we are asked to stay in our homes to keep everyone as safe as possible. So I understand a lot of the UK workforce is sitting at home. So I wanted to just share my top tips on how to feel better and be well when you're working from home. So we all know there's a good posture and a bad posture. We all know that slouching over your desk is a bad thing. We all know to sit up straight. So my top tips are not so much to do with posture, because we're going to do lots and lots of other videos about posture further down the line. I'm going to just cover a few things that I don't think you will have thought of already. So my 3 top tips. Tip 1. The first thing you do before you start working is you set out a designated workspace, okay? Because so many of us, and I've done it in the past as well, especially if your work have given you a laptop, is you will just be tempted to carry the laptop around with you and sit wherever, maybe on the sofa, maybe somewhere that is not as good as it could be. Please, 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 if you can, if the space allows, get a proper desk, set up a proper workstation. Not only is this good for your mindset, so this is where I work, and then the rest of the house is where you live the rest of your life. That is a really important mindset shift to make, and not just carry your work around with you all the time. But also, ergonomically, you're going to do much better if you have a designated workspace. You can find a chair that's comfortable. You can make your laptop at the right height for you, which we're going to talk about too. The problem with laptops for a lot of people is because the laptop comes out like this, and then your head is there looking down on the laptop. So you're going to need to tilt your head down like that. And instead of keeping your back straight and slightly tilting your head down, what a lot of people do is this, which is not so good, okay? So my advice would be, if you have got a laptop, if you've got the option to raise the laptop and use a separate keyboard and mouse, please do so. If you don't have that option, then you can buy special laptop stands that make it so that the screen is more like this and the keyboard is more like that, so you're more likely to sit up straight. But let me have a look online, and I'll post some recommendations underneath if I can find some. So my next top tip, tip number 2. This is going to be one that I don't think you will have heard of so often. If you're a patient of mine, you will have heard me say it before. So what a lot of people should do is take a break every 20 minutes. But nobody ever does that, do they? And I feel when you're in an office with other people, particularly if you're used to working in an open plan office, a bigger office, you'd be very often getting up to make a cup of tea, chatting to a colleague, getting up to go to a meeting, blah, 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 blah. You would be more likely, depending on your job, to move around. When you work from home, you are much less likely to do that. I remember my husband, who works in an office. The first day he worked from home last week, he came downstairs like mid-afternoon, and he was like, I didn't have lunch. He sat down at 9 a.m. and then it got to 20 past 2 and he hadn't moved and he hadn't had lunch, and he was a bit freaked out because he was like, I don't know where the time's gone. So I think it's really, really important to get yourself a timer. And there's no excuse, because we've all got a phone, we've all got a timer available to us, or use a kitchen timer, or there's any number of timer apps that you could download for your computer to remind you to take a break. Now, listen, official guidelines are every 20 minutes, but I know you're not going to do that. So please help me out, just every 30 minutes even. And all you need to do is for 2 minutes, just get up, go and get a glass of water, go and get a cup of tea, go to the toilet, or just go and walk around your house and sit back down again. That could be the difference between you having a really, really bad time working from home and being in a lot of pain by the end of it, and you coping really well and having no problems with it. So please, please help me out and just take regular breaks. Use a timer. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect posture when you're working, if you're going to work for 5 hours straight and not take a break. So please don't do that. Okay. And tip number 3 is a practical tip. So again, if you're a patient of mine, you might have heard me talk about this. This is called the towel trick. Now I'm going to try and show you this physically. Bear in mind, I'm from my home office, which is basically our spare room, which is basically our laundry area. So if you see some washing, I'm really sorry. So I'm going to try and show you this physically, what I mean. I've got a towel here. So you need a towel. It doesn't have to be like a bath sheet, it doesn't have to be a massive towel, because we're going to roll it up anyway. It needs to be bigger than a hand towel. So whatever the one is between a bath sheet and is it just called a bath towel? I don't know. Something around about that size, but don't stress about the size too much. Okay, I'm just going to grab my towel. So I actually think this might be a bath sheet. Yeah, it is. Well, anyway, you don't need one this big. I'll just fold it down more. Okay, so you take your towel, I'm going to fold it into 4. Not very neatly. And then what you do is you roll it up like this. Okay. Then you take your chair. I'm just going to see if I can move that down a bit. Pop it there, okay? Can you see? I've like tucked it right into the corner. Now, can I just say, this is a slightly fancier office chair. This is my husband's work office chair. He actually brought it home. I'm assuming most of you won't have a chair like this at home. We do not usually. Anyway, so I'm going to do the sideways so you can see. So this is the towel trick. So what a lot of people do when they're sitting is they end up, I'll just take this away for a second, they end up sitting here and slouching like this. Type, 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 type. Now, what that does, look at my spine here, what that does is it tucks your butt under and it straightens out that nice lumbar curve that should be that way. That's your butt there, it should be that way, but you end up slouching and straightening out. This puts a lot of stress on the joints at the bottom of your back and the discs. Now your discs are really important. We're going to talk about discs at some point over the next few weeks. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to put these joints and discs under any other additional strain, especially as you get older. That can lead to really serious problems. So what a lot of people end up doing is working like this. And you're really stretching out those joints, and it's a really, really bad idea. So you get your towel, pop your towel in there, and then watch what I'm doing. You put your butt on top of your towel and then scoot forward so that my bum essentially now is slightly higher than my legs. So what this is doing is, instead of me slouching like that and stretching out those joints too much, my butt is now propped up here on my sitting bones like that, okay? And then that's how you work. And it's very, very difficult to slouch in this position. You can do it if you really try, but if you're sitting up on your towel, you're much less likely to slouch, because you'll have that reminder that you've got the right posture there. Sorry. Here we go. So that is probably my top tip. And actually I get people to even do that in their cars. People who are going on long plane journeys, I always get asked, oh, like my back always goes after I go on a long plane journey. That's a really great tip for something to do there. So I hope that was clear. I mean, particularly the towel trick. You see, I'm even sitting up straighter now. The best thing about this towel trick is it doesn't cost anything. We've all got a towel in our house that we're not using. So a lot of people ask me about these like fancy lumbar supports and cushions and all of that stuff. And absolutely, if you find this towel trick works for you, there are more expensive options that you can try, you know, that you might prefer to just sitting on a towel. But if you don't have that money lying around, then don't bother, just use a towel, and that'll get you through these 3 weeks working at home. So I hope that was useful. Those are my top tips, and check out our other videos on YouTube. So our clinic is in Banchory, and if you would like to book an appointment, it's 01330 824040, or email us on info@banchoryspinalhealth.co.uk. The clinic is not open at the moment due to COVID-19, but we are expecting to be open certainly by May. So yeah, we'll hope to see you soon. Bye.